Have you ever noticed how some people seem genuinely happy, even when they don't have much? Maybe you've come across someone at church or in your neighborhood, someone who lives in a modest home, doesn't travel much, and doesn't drive a fancy car. Yet every time you talk to them, they seem at peace. They smile with their whole face, they laugh easily, and they radiate something that can't be bought. If you're like most folks in your golden years, you might be wondering how that's even possible. The world keeps telling us that we need more savings, more insurance, more plans, more everything to be okay. But what if I told you that some of the happiest seniors I've met don't have much money at all? They've figured out something different, and today I want to share that with you. Not from some textbook, but from the wisdom I've gathered sitting at kitchen tables, walking through gardens, and listening to real stories from real people who found peace and joy without a big bank account. This isn't about ignoring your needs or pretending that money doesn't matter. We all need a roof over our heads, food on the table, and healthcare when we're hurting. But once those basic needs are met, the real happiness, it comes from somewhere else. Let me walk you through what I've learned, one secret at a time, not all at once, and not in some fancy lecture, just like we're having a good old-fashioned conversation. Now, let's start where it matters most. There's something I've seen again and again in happy seniors, and it always begins with this. They take care of their health. I know, you've heard it before, but I'm not just talking about checkups and medication. I'm talking about simple daily choices that add up to feeling better in your own body. Take my friend Harold, for example. He's 74 now, lives in a quiet part of Tennessee with his wife. They don't have much, never really did. But Harold has this habit. Every morning, rain or shine, he puts on his sneakers and walks 2 laps around the block. Not because some doctor told him to, but because he loves the sound of the birds, the stretch in his legs, and the feeling of getting the day started right. He doesn't go to a fancy gym, he doesn't follow any complicated diet plans. He just eats home-cooked meals, lots of vegetables, simple grains, and fruit from the little tree in his yard. He drinks water like it's medicine, gets to bed early, and keeps stress low. And you know what? He looks 10 years younger than he is. But more importantly, he feels alive. That's the thing about health. When your body feels strong, even in small ways, everything else becomes easier. A good walk can ease your mind. A warm meal can lift your spirit. Rest can restore your hope. You don't need expensive fitness programs or miracle supplements, just the basics done with love and care. So if you're wondering where to begin, start with your body. Treat it like your best friend. Move it gently, feed it kindly, let it rest, because health is the real gold of old age. But here's what I've noticed too. The happiest seniors aren't just healthy, they're useful. That may sound simple, but think about it. You and I were raised in a time when being useful meant something. We helped neighbors. We raised families. We built things with our hands. We made meals from scratch. Being useful gave us purpose. And purpose, that's what keeps the spirit young. I think about Elaine, a widow in her early. She lives alone in a small apartment in Ohio, doesn't have much money. But every Thursday morning she knits little hats for newborn babies at the local hospital. Every Monday she reads to first graders at the elementary school. I may not have much, she once told me, but I still have something to give. And she's right. Purpose doesn't have to be grand. You don't need to launch a charity or write a book. Maybe it's tending your garden. Maybe it's cooking meals for someone who can't. Maybe it's teaching your grandson how to tie a fishing knot, or calling that one friend who's going through a hard time. The happiest seniors I know wake up with a reason to get out of bed, not because they have to, but because they want to. Their lives still matter, and they know it. So, ask yourself, what brings me joy? What can I still share? What needs doing that I could help with? Even in a small way, because when you find your reason, life feels full again. You're not just passing time, you're living it. And here's something else I've seen over and over. These joyful folks, they carry something deep in their hearts. Gratitude, not just the polite kind we say at the dinner table, but the kind that changes your whole day. They look around and say thank you for the sunlight coming through the window, for the warmth of a blanket, for a phone call from a friend. They don't wait for big moments to be grateful. They celebrate the small stuff. There's this gentleman named Frank, lives down in Florida, not a rich man by any means. He once told me, I say thank you every time I can tie my own shoes without help. Sounds funny, but that's the kind of perspective that makes life sweet. When you're grateful, you stop focusing on what's missing. You start seeing what's there. You stop worrying about what you used to have and start loving what you still get to enjoy. And that shift, well, it changes everything. Gratitude is like a lens. It sharpens the good, softens the hard, and it reminds you that even in a world that moves fast and forgets the elderly, your life still holds beauty. You see, happiness isn't about ignoring your problems. It's about learning to see past them, and gratitude is the key that unlocks that view. So maybe start a little practice. Every evening, just before bed, say 3 things you're thankful for, out loud, in your mind, or even written in a notebook. They don't have to be big, just real. It'll change how you sleep. It'll change how you wake up. And little by little, it'll change your life. Now we've talked about caring for your body, finding purpose, and living with gratitude. These are choices, small, daily choices that don't cost a thing, and yet they pay you back in joy, peace, and strength. Let's keep going, because there's more to this story.
And you know what else makes a difference?
The people around you. Now, I'm not just talking about having a big family or knowing a lot of folks. I'm talking about meaningful connections, the kind that lift your heart and make you feel seen, even on the hard day. Because one of the most beautiful truths I've learned is that strong relationships are more valuable than any retirement account. Let me tell you about Mrs. Anderson. She's in her late 70s, lives in a small house just outside St. Louis, lost her husband over a decade ago. Her income modest, but every Sunday, without fail, her kitchen fills with life. Neighbors, her grown kids, even some of the local teens stop by. She makes a pot of stew, simple ingredients. Nothing fancy, yet somehow, there's always enough to go around. She once told me, I may not have the money to give gifts, but I have time. I have a place for people to gather. I have love to give. And love, sweetheart, multiplies when you give it away. She's right. Relationships are like God. You don't need a big budget to grow them. You need presence. You need kindness. You need time. Call someone just to check in. Invite a neighbor over for a cup of tea. Sit outside and say hello to folks passing by. Connection doesn't need to be complicated. It just needs to be intentional. I remember one man, I'll call him Bill. He told me he used to feel lonely every evening after dinner. The house was too quiet. His wife had passed. The kids were busy with their own lives. So you know what he did? He started walking over to the local library every Tuesday evening for the community chess club. Not because he was any good at chess, but because it gave him a reason to be around people, a reason to listen, to laugh, to share. Before long, he wasn't just showing up. He was teaching the new players, giving advice, making jokes, and that heavy feeling. It started to lift. You don't need money to build meaningful relationships. You just need to show up and keep showing up. Even small gestures, sharing a laugh, lending a hand, telling a story, can be the glue that binds hearts together. Because in the end, it's not things we remember most. It's moments. It's people. And those warm memories don't cost a dime. Now, let me share something else I've seen in seniors who seem to glow from the inside out. They live simply. And I mean that in the most beautiful way. Mr. and Mrs. Miller come to mind. They're a sweet couple in their early 80s who live in a little wooden home in northern Michigan. It's not large. The furniture's old. The paint on the porch is chipped in a few places. But when you step inside, it feels like love lives there. They eat oatmeal in the morning, vegetable soup in the evening. They tend to a few pots of herbs and tomatoes on the windowsill. They don't own the newest gadgets. They don't follow every new trend. but they laugh more than most people I know. The secret: they don't live to impress, they live to enjoy. A fresh loaf of bread, a phone call with their daughter, the sound of rain on the roof. These aren't luxuries by the world's standards, but they're deeply rich experiences to those who know how to savor them. Living simply doesn't mean living without. It means choosing what matters and letting go of what doesn't. It means slowing down enough to actually enjoy the life you're living. I once asked Mrs. Miller what makes her happiest these days. She said, "A quiet morning, a cup of coffee, and knowing my husband is still here beside me. That's real wealth." So if your home isn't fancy, if your clothes aren't brand new, if your car is a little older than you'd like, it's okay. What matters most is how you feel in your space. If it's filled with peace, laughter, and memories, then you've already got more than many people ever find. And here's something else worth saying. Simple doesn't mean boring. It means free from pressure. It means finding beauty in the small stuff, and the small stuff, that's where life actually happens. Now, there's one more truth I want to gently bring to your heart, and it's one of the most powerful I've seen. The happiest seniors I know have made peace with what they have. They've stopped comparing their lives to others. They've let go of keeping up. That's the quiet superpower called contentment. I think of Mr. Johnson, a retired postal worker, lives in a quiet neighborhood outside Phoenix. He once told me, "I stopped looking over the fence a long time ago. My grass may not be the greenest, but it's mine, and it's enough." That simple wisdom has stayed with me because, let's be honest, it's easy to fall into comparison, to see what others have, and wonder if we missed out. But comparison is a thief. It steals joy from the present and buries it under what-ifs. Johnson doesn't scroll through social media. He doesn't worry about what vacations other people take. He waters his plants, talks to his neighbors, sits on his porch at sunset with a good book and a cold drink, and he smiles more than most people I've met. He doesn't have a big retirement account, but he has peace, and that peace came from shifting his gaze from what was missing to what was present. You don't have to stop dreaming, but you can stop chasing. There's a difference. Chasing leaves you tired. Gratitude and contentment leave you full. And when you stop measuring your worth by someone else's ruler, you finally get to enjoy the life that's right in front of you. So take a breath. Look around your home. Think about the people you love, the things you're still able to do, the small joys you still get to feel. That's your story. And it's enough. No one gets everything, but everyone gets something. The trick is learning to cherish what's already in your hands. So here we are, my friend, at a place of understanding that goes far beyond bank accounts or retirement plans. We've walked together through the quiet beauty of contentment, the richness of simple living, the treasure of meaningful relationships, the strength of purpose, the foundation of good health, and the transforming power of gratitude. And if you're sitting there now thinking, "But my life isn't like that," I want to pause and tell you something important. It's never too late. Not to shift your focus, not to begin again, not to embrace a different kind of wealth. Sometimes the world makes us believe that aging means becoming invisible, that once you've passed a certain number, your worth starts to fade. But let me remind you of a truth no one can take from you. You are still here, and that means your life still holds meaning. You've lived through ups and downs, joy and loss, growth and change. You've loved, built, nurtured, failed, learned, and gotten back up again. That history, that heart, is worth more than gold. I met a woman named Clara not long ago. She's 82, lives alone in a quiet town in Oregon, no children, no partner, and very little money. But when I asked her what keeps her smiling, she said, "I sit by the window every morning with my tea, and I say thank you. I thank the sky for showing up again. I thank the tree across the street for not giving up. I thank my old legs for walking me to the kitchen. I may be alone, but I am not lonely." That kind of inner richness doesn't come from a financial planner. It comes from a cultivated spirit, a way of looking at the world that honors every breath as a gift. And maybe that's the real secret behind all of this. Happiness isn't found, it's practiced, bit by bit, choice by choice. You choose to get outside for a walk. even if your knees ache. You choose to wave to your neighbor, even when you're feeling shy. You choose to savor that bowl of soup, even if it's the same one you had yesterday. You choose to forgive, to call, to listen, to laugh, because you know time is precious. It's not about pretending life is perfect. It's about seeing the good, even in the cracks, especially in the cracks. And I know for some of you watching, life may feel heavy right now. Maybe you've lost someone. Maybe your body is not what it used to be. Maybe money is tight, and you feel like the world is moving on without you. But let me say this clearly, you are not forgotten. Your life still matters. You still have something to give, something to feel, something to enjoy. You are not at the end. You're in a new chapter, and every chapter brings its own kind of beauty. So, take heart. If you don't have a big savings account, remember this. You're not alone. Many people are walking the same road, and yet on that road, there are still wildflowers. There are still sunrises. There are still phone calls that bring a smile, and music that brings back memories, and people who need your stories, your laughter, your presence. You are the living proof that joy isn't about possessions, it's about perspective. You are the reminder that a life well lived doesn't have to be luxurious. It just has to be honest, connected, and full of meaning. So, if today you feel a little worried, a little left behind, I hope you take this moment to breathe in some hope. Look around at what you do have. The warm blanket, the quiet morning, the memory of a friend's voice, the strength in your hands, the softness in your heart. Start there. That's your ground. That's your goal. And from that place, build your joy, not all at once, not with a bang, but like lighting a candle in the dark, one small flame at a time. You are not too old to be happy. You are not too poor to feel rich. You are not too late to live fully. So tell me in the comments below, what is one thing you're thankful for today? One small habit that brings you peace. One way you found joy, even in the simple life. Share it. Let others hear it. You never know who needs that encouragement right now. And if this video lifted your spirit even a little, I invite you to like it so others can find it too. Subscribe to our channel, where we celebrate the wisdom, strength, and quiet power of people just like you. You matter here. Your voice belongs here. And we're so glad to have you with us. Until next time, take care of your body. Keep your heart open. Hold on to gratitude like it's your anchor. And remember, you don't need more money to live a rich life, just more meaning. Here's to you. Here's to the life you're living. And here's to making the rest of your years the very best of them. Stay well, stay joyful, and never stop being exactly who you are.